going to take our attention to heat number 8. We're getting close to the end of the opening races. All the drivers still are making their first appearance in this year's championship, as it's still the first round of heats. This one coming up, though, heat number 8 of the 10 for the first round. Well, let's have a look here. Oh, gosh, this is another serious heat. Very much been made over the years of the fabled heat of death, but just about every race you can think of here is a heat of death. On paper, it may not contain, well, you know, is there anyone who you'd be up against? A lot of people fancying their chances, but this can be very tough indeed. Let's run through this one. Round 1, heat number 8. So, Adam Preston, another local man. He's actually going to be looking to really pull himself up the order. He was 87th in the championship last year. Emile Hollink, over here from the Netherlands, brother of Marcel Hollink, and he was 62nd in the championship. But look at this, Logan Sougne, 12th last year, just missed out in the final, but an important part of that Blue Star Racing team. He's in the first team as well, so absolutely one of the best at world level as well. He's come over from Belgium, this Duisburg he lives. Joris Sturm, Dutch driver from Middelburg, and Joris Sturm, part of the Boutens Racing clan there, and so Joris Sturm, he was 40th last year, but you know, he's the team champion of his city. So over in Middelburg, where they're really, you know, in Holland, Belgium, that's where the indoor karting is probably at its strongest. Joris Sturm is actually his city's you know, champion there, so he really is one of the best. Andy Meulemeester, the first time we've seen one of the Meulemeester brothers. They're over from Ostend in Belgium, and he was 50th, so bang in the middle of the championship last year. Andy Meulemeester, a return this year for the Mad Brothers Racing team. This is one of the Meulemeester brothers, in this case Andy Meulemeester. Next up we got Matt West. Matt West, one of the Kart Planet team drivers. He's actually from Bognor Regis though. He actually has finished in the same place in the last 2 years, 75th. So Matt West, I'm sure, is going to be moving forward. Now, we saw Michael Grzyb earlier on, and this time we got Wotjek Grzyb, his brother. Wotjek Grzyb, now with the shifter karts, the gearbox karts, Wotjek Grzyb is the Polish champion from 2017. So Wotjek Grzyb is, well, gosh, you know, these two brothers, they've turned up, and yesterday in the testing they were among the fastest. They really were flying. We'll see what he is doing. They came over from Poland, especially for this event. Dan Truman, we've seen him in British karting championships, this one and many others, so many times. Dan Truman, he's a front-running driver in the well-known Club 100 series. He's been a podium finisher here in the British Rental Championship before. Gary Jones is up as well. Oh my goodness, Gary Jones. He was 17th in the championship 2 years ago, so almost into the final there, Gary Jones. Ross O'Mara, a Manchester driver. He was 81st last year. Obviously, he'll be trying to pull himself up for this time round. Okay, so we're completing the warm-up laps now on the qualifiers now. The first one's through. We're on the qualifiers. I think it's Dan Truman looking particularly strong on that opening lap. Obviously, Logan Sougne looking good up there. So crossing the line, I believe that's Sougne, and we'll see what time it was. We'll see as the times come in. Yeah, they're just on there, just completing the warm-up laps by the looks of it. There's Gary Jones. Now, the next one through will be a timed one. Truman on the provisional pole. So Dan Truman, provisionally fastest right now. He's been beaten by Adam Preston. Adam Preston, 87th in the championship last year, is currently on pole. Adam Preston, he's been beaten by, Wotjek Grzyb. Wotjek Grzyb is currently on pole. Meulemeester comes in 5th. Logan Sougne second to Grzyb. Logan Sougne, probably one of the real benchmarks, and Joris Sturm is 3rd. So Grzyb stays on the pole position there, but there's nothing in it. My goodness, it's 0.03 of a second for Wotjek Grzyb. This is his debut in the British Championship, and he's stuck it on pole. Now, we saw his brother racing hard through from, what was it, 3rd place in the previous race. Sorry, one before last. But this time we've got Wotjek, who is the gearbox karting champion from Poland in 2017, and he's now on the pole position for this British Championship opening heat from his point of view. Logan Sougne is 2nd, Joris Sturm is 3rd, Adam Preston though is 4th, Dan Truman 5th, Ross O'Mara 6th, Emile Hollink 7th, Andy Meulemeester 8th, Matt West 9th, and Gary Jones rounds him out in 10th place. But Gary Jones is only 0.7 of a second away. So we're looking across there. That's the number 20. That's Wotjek Grzyb. Wotjek Grzyb is ready to make his debut race here in the British Championship, and he's going to do it from pole position. So Wotjek Grzyb there is, well, you know, what can we say? He's getting ready to start. Now, he's going to lead the way. Obviously, he's setting the pace and making the start. But Logan Sougne and Joris Sturm have years of experience, and you know, they really are amongst the top drivers there, Logan Sougne and Joris Sturm. They have got an awful lot to throw at young Grzyb there in front of him. So Grzyb has got really his work cut out. This is not going to be easy for the young Polish driver. He's fast enough to be on pole, but, you know, is he racer enough to stay in front? That's the big question to ask. And the men asking the question are Logan Sougne and Joris Sturm immediately behind. Adam Preston, though, and Dan Truman, though, you know, you can see there, if you look on the camera, we can see the camera. There's Gary Jones bringing it at the rear. But if you look a bit further ahead, you can see Truman with a white helmet. Says Truman on the back there in the 19 car. He's going to be really wanting to be a bit further up the order than that, I think. Although, you know, he's capable of doing it. I mean, what are we dealing with on time? Yeah, it's only 0.1 of a second away. So he knows he can do it. Maybe he can do it from 5th place. That's the answer. We'll wait to see from him. So Marshall's just waiting until they're happy with everything. There's a bit of nodding going on. Have some deals been done already? We've already seen drivers, those of you who are watching, who are used to more British circuit racing where there are really no deals done and it's just a fight for the flag. There's a lot of strategy comes into it in the indoor karting, especially from the Europeans and those with international standings. You know, we saw that from Sam Slater trying to do deals on the track. Have we seen Grzyb and Sougne just agree that what they're going to do is not fight each other for positions, that they can pull away, then fight it out deeper in the race? So, Grzyb takes the start. He's in the lead. Sougne not really making any effort on him, and nor is Joris Sturm. These guys have got the smarts to pull away. They're not going to try and make a race of it to begin with. Grzyb, we know, is fast. Sougne, we know, is very fast indeed. He has to take the fight, though, to Grzyb early, but is this going to be an aggressive fight? Is he just going to stay with Grzyb and wait until it's a bit safer to do so? Because behind, when you look at some of the names, I'm talking Preston, Truman, Emile Hollink, Meulemeester especially, West and Jones. These are all pretty feisty guys. This is not a race you want to end up in the middle of. If you're going to win this race, you're going to have to do it by clearing off at the front. A fight through here is probably not on the cards. For one of the leaders to pit now will be an error of gigantic proportions, probably, given that mid and tail pack that's probably, I reckon, is going to stay fairly close, you know, to each other further back. There's Gary Jones. We know he's quick, and he's running 10, so he'll keep the sort of standard up, if you like. So I'm predicting that we're probably going to get a bit of a runaway 3 here, and then Preston backwards is just going to be an almighty slog out. And there's Andy Meulemeester. We saw him debut last year. He was smack in the middle of the standings in 50th place, so obviously he wants to be in the top half. And if he's in the top half, he's surely going to have his eye on a semi-final. He's going to be wanting to make his way up then from 8th place, and that involves having a crack at Hollink, O'Mara, Truman and Preston. Meulemeester, yeah, he's racer enough to have a go at that. Meantime, up at the front, though, Grzyb still leads, and he's leading from Sougne. Sougne is staying with him. Sougne, one of the fabled Blue Star drivers, and Sougne is staying out. You can see it says, I think it's Blue Star written down the leg of the overall there. You know, he is one of their permanent boys, very fast indeed, and very, very highly rated. Equally rated, though, Joris Sturm is beginning to drop back. And there's Grzyb and Sougne absolutely with him. Sturm, though, is starting to lose. He's almost a second off the leader, which means he's not quite that off the second place, but he is definitely getting to be in a bit of a position on his own as Sturm. Joris Sturm there, we've seen, I think this is about his 3rd or 4th British Championship we've seen him at. Sturm, as I said, he's the champion in his city, team-wise, and so he's definitely got the skill to do this, and that's why he's running in 3rd. Now, as predicted, though, that battle behind is getting a bit serious. You've got Adam Preston and Dan Truman already starting to argue over that 4th place. Truman, I think, wants to pull the pin on this right away because he will see those in front getting away. If he's going to do something, it needs to be right now because this lead is extending out. They're already nearly 3 seconds back in terms of 1st to 4th. So there is the leader, Grzyb, with Sougne behind him. Sougne, one of the finest karters in the world right now, and staying with Grzyb. Grzyb, of course, yeah, into the pits, though, the 13. Is that in his part? It's Emile Hollink. Now, Emile was literally in the middle of that big group, and I think Emile Hollink feels he's best served by running on his own, and that is why he's pitted out of the problem from his point of view. Having a pit stop in the race does allow the extra sort of strategy that if you feel that people are holding you up, you don't necessarily have to take them on. You've almost got that one get out of jail. Everybody has it, so if you're going to take it, you better make use of it. Now there is Sougne shaking his head. We could see before the start, Grzyb and Sougne were talking when they were sat first and second in the lineup while we're waiting for them to get going. Was a deal done? Which case Sougne, is he feeling that Grzyb really needs to get a bit more speed on? Because I think Sougne, at the very least, wants both he and Grzyb, should such a deal have taken place, to be comfortable enough when they pit to guarantee of coming out ahead of Sturm. I don't think that on the looks of this that Sougne really rates Sturm's chance of staying with him, so he's not really factoring Sturm into the equation maybe when it comes to any kind of deal about let's build up a big enough lead and not fight. For this to work, he needs Grzyb, Sougne I'm talking about here, needs Grzyb to actually pick the pace up so they can pull themselves clear and make it only a two-way fight for the lead without having Sturm involved. And I think that's what their plan is, in which case Sougne is desperate for Grzyb to get a little bit more speed on. I'm going to look at the times now. We're listing Grzyb as having the fastest lap of the race so far. No, it's gone to Sougne. Sougne is now the fastest, and Grzyb and Sougne are the only ones lapping 32.1. Everyone else is 32 or worse. In fact, the only one else on 32.2 is Joris Sturm, who was looking at just there in third. So I think Sougne and Grzyb, if they're going to try and, shove Joris out of this deal that they've got going, they need to pick up the pace a little bit, because Sturm is not falling enough away from them to not be a factor at the end. So, talking of Sturm, he is running, what's the actual real gap there? Let's have a look. Yeah, he is actually running just about a second behind Sougne. So it actually looks a bit closer on the timing screen, to be honest. But as they cross the line, it is about a second gap. So there's your leader, there's your second, and there's Joris Sturm I've just been talking about. Grzyb now is, this is Wotjek Grzyb we're talking about, the former Polish gearbox kart champion, the shifter karts as the Americans call them. He's leading from Logan Sougne. Now, the thing is, Logan Sougne, he's not, maybe he doesn't know too well Grzyb, and he's had to sort of just accept the fact Grzyb has been faster and hoping that Grzyb will continue to be faster in the race. But let's have a look at Sturm. Is he actually closing in? He's not. But, visibly it does look like he's closing in on them, but he's actually losing time as a third place driver here. So there's your race leader. There's second place. Into the picture there comes Joris Sturm. Now, Grzyb, he's leading from Sougne. Now, Sougne, we know, is one of the best in the world. Part of that Blue Star team, as I keep saying there. The very, very talented Belgian from Duisburg over there in Belgium. Very well known on the international scene. Sougne, definitely, like Ruben Boutens, like Greg Laporte, like, many of these others, very much a benchmark which to judge everyone else by. 12, that's Matt West. Now, Matt West is making a pit stop. Again, maybe he feels that he needs to get out of that big group that I was talking was going to be building up earlier. That group, of course, is headed by the current fourth place, which is Dan Truman. He's passed Preston, probably passed on merit there. It's out of camera shot, so a bit of outside, out of mind. So Dan Truman is in fourth place. Adam Preston is in fifth. Meulemeester sixth. Gary Jones, of course, has come up from his last place up into seventh. And then Ross O'Mara, Hollink and West to round them out. So there's Grzyb, the leader. Sougne, a watching brief. We can see that Grzyb really is feeling confident in that lead. And he's obviously, that little chat before the start, deals good, do get done. He knows what the idea is, so he knows that he doesn't have to move to the inside to constantly defend against Sougne. That means that he can just set about setting down some fast times. Sougne knows he can follow him with those fast times and get themselves all clear. Now, looking further back, we know that we are looking at a comfort zone maybe of around 10 seconds, probably to be comfortable 11 or 12. So if we look further down on what the gaps really are, Grzyb and Sougne could pit now, and even not allowing for the fact the other people need to pit, could definitely come out and still be, what? Sixth place, really, when you think about it. Sixth, seventh place. And so if they were to pit now, they would have that gap and sufficient that they could come out in about sixth or seventh place. And this would mean that they would have a bit less fighting to do. The others would pit in front of them and they'd be out in front. It's Sturm that they're really worried about, I believe. He's now 1.6 seconds behind. Joris Sturm dropping back a little bit in third. They're going to be keen to put that gap to Sturm. that move there by Sougne was probably not really aggressive. It's just he was running that close. He just didn't want to touch Grzyb. Of course, indoor karting, when you start bouncing off people, both karts end up losing some time. And if you're going to be trying to pull away from people, losing time clearly is not the way to do it. So, Wotjek Grzyb, quite a Brkc debut this. He's not been anything except pole position or first place so far. So he'll be pleased with his debut. Brother, of course, Michael, he was out earlier. We saw a fighting result from him. He came in second place to Patrick Neroda earlier on. But this time, it's Wotjek who's actually leading the way. There at the tail, we're looking Gary Jones on Meulemeester there. But here we are with the leaders again. It's Wotjek Grzyb versus Logan Sougne. Wotjek Grzyb, very much distinctive European style with the leaning out business, this idea of just trying to take a little bit of weight off the inside rear wheel, because that solid rear axle makes the thing want to understeer a bit. You'll rotate the kart a little bit easier in the turn by leaning out. That's very much the European indoor style. Europeans very much specialists in the rental karting and indoor rental karting scene, and none finer really than what we're repeatedly seeing thrown forward traditionally by the Belgians and the Dutch, maybe the Germans a little bit as well. But the Poles are certainly coming forward as a nation, and we can see that you know, some of the top drivers this weekend are indeed from Poland. Of course, Remi Drazga actually does organise the Polish Championship, so anyone who's racing here this weekend who fancies a crack at the Polish Championship, I think Remi Drazga is going to be your man to go and find, and you know, easy guy to talk to, top bloke, so have a word with him. Of course, if you're interested in racing in the World Championships, just go and find Greg Laporte. He's one of the organisers of the World Championships, of course, racing this weekend. Another really easy going and easy to talk to guy. So certainly we're seeing some people who've got the capability of racing on the international scene. So there will be two good championships to start with. Belgian Championship, also a nice local one. I know a few of the guys regularly go and do those. You'll be talking about the likes of Chris Danes, who we've yet to see this weekend. Johnny Elliott, and of course Sam Slater, you'll find appearing at a number of these European national championships, just like the BRKC, and of course competing in the world ones themselves. So yeah, big cross section of drivers here and people to talk to should you want to race abroad. Now, back up at the front, we're looking again. It's pretty much situation normal. Now, this is a classic case of strategic driving by Logan Sougne. Logan Sougne, of course, is driving around following Grzyb. He's getting information on all the time about how, you know, certain areas, you know, he might be faster, he might be worse. He knows exactly what he's going to have to do should it come to a fight with Grzyb about where he might be better or worse. And so all that information, Logan Sougne, and he's just sitting there watching a watching brief as they pull away. Joris Sturm is almost 2 seconds back on the leaders now. Maybe this next lap we'll see Joris Sturm. Oh, a bit of a robust move there. That was Gary Jones on Andy Meulemeester. Well, these are the two of, I don't want to call them the roughest, but certainly two of the raciest people we've got here this weekend. There's Gary Jones there in the red suit, and there's Andy Meulemeester, one of the battling Belgian Meulemeester brothers. They compete in a team known as the Mad Brothers Racing, quite aptly named as far as a number are concerned. Certainly someone who's going to be putting on some shows this weekend here in Milton Keynes, though, is Andy Meulemeester, but he's just been dropped down a place by Gary Jones. There's Gary Jones. Gary Jones, of course, we saw running in 10th place at the start because he qualified last. Probably as much to his surprise as anyone else. He has been 17th overall in the championship. That was 2 years ago in 2017, Gary Jones, here in the red suit, coming into view. Leader of this pair here, Gary Jones. So he's been knocking on the door of the final before, but probably not in this race. Now there's Meulemeester coming into the pit. So Meulemeester, having been deposed by Jones, has pitted. One of the Mad Racing brothers. There's two of the Meulemeester brothers and another in their team. So we'll deal with the another later on. But it's Andy Meulemeester who's come out of the pits. There he is, Andy Meulemeester. So going back up near the front again, we're still in the 32 zeros now for the top two. That's Wotjek Grzyb and Logan Sougne. They're very close. Logan Sougne is actually currently fastest on the track, and I believe this is now fastest of the weekend. We're getting to the stage now where we're looking to see someone pop it into the 31-second lap times. The track's getting faster and faster as it gets one more. Oh, and a bit of a tap there, and that was between the two race leaders. Maybe Logan Sougne now is starting to think about pulling the pin. Maybe he's finally running out of patience with Grzyb. And Logan Sougne is thinking, yeah, okay, deals are good so far, but there's a time when they start to be, relinquished. And so I'm now going to go into the attack. Now, the question is Logan Sougne, as we can see here, second place, is the Belgian ace going to pit and then do some fast laps to try and get past Grzyb, or are you going to fight him for position? Now, he's got Grzyb in a situation where Grzyb doesn't feel the need to defend, so I think we could see a real sort of Cobra-style attack from Sougne, but no, Sougne does decide to come in the pits. Sougne feels he's faster. Now, this is going to be what makes or break the race as far as his point of view is. He's good on his first stop. There's Logan Sougne, one of the finest in the business. He does this all the time in all the national championships and international levels, so we can expect nothing but a good stop from him. What was the stop time? Yes, it was very good indeed. It was just about 10.5 seconds there, lost in the pits there. So he throws the gauntlet down to Wotjek Grzyb. Grzyb's pit stop has to be brilliant. Here is Grzyb now coming to his on. He's got his arm in the air. This is going to be it. Now, this has to be magnificent. This has to be 10.5 seconds or better, or he's going to have an absolute side pod full of Logan Sougne. So here is Grzyb. This has to be brilliant. It's good so far. It's looking fairly brilliant. That's what the time. But where's Logan Sougne? Sougne is further back now. It looks like a big gap, but don't worry. Sougne has momentum. Sougne will close in. There's Grzyb. He's still building up speed, but it looks like he's got the job done. Incredibly, Wotjek Grzyb on his BRKC debut has actually got a bigger lead over Logan Sougne, one of the most fancied runners in the whole wide world, in this race, and it's his debut here in the BRKC for Wotjek Grzyb, and what a debut it is. He's on pole, and this is the biggest gap he's had over Logan Sougne. Oh, another pit stopper. Who's this going to be? It's going to be Truman, is it? Yes, it is. It's Dan Truman. Truman took over second. Joris Sturm is leading. We know Sturm has got to make a pit stop, but Truman's in, Truman's out. And what's this going to mean for Dan Truman? Truman's a bit of a 11-second stop there, so not quite as sharp for Truman, but not bad at all. It's just the front two have done so well. It makes an 11-second stop look a little off the pace, but a good job there by Dan Truman. That will have helped his cause. He's resumed in 5th. Now, we're not that far off the end of the race now, so I don't think it's going to be long before Joris Sturm comes to the pits. There is Joris Sturm, the race leader. He's in the snail section, as I said, very much part of the Buiten's clan there. He's come over. He's from Middelburg in the Netherlands. There's Joris Sturm. He's currently leading the race. Look at that, right against the wall. To race at this level, you've got to be that close to the wall without touching it. It's absolute precision driving all the way. It may not be as fast as the outdoor stuff, but by goodness, is it absolutely precise. If you're not just touching on that wall, you are going to be slow. If you are actually touching on that wall, you are going to be slow. So you've got to get it absolutely perfect. Literally millimetre perfect. And one of the top ones for doing that is Joris Sturm. There he is, the Dutchman, the Middelburg-based driver. He's champion of his city, as we said. Joris Sturm, he's leading a BRKC race. Now, crucial for him is where he's going to come out. He will have been looking at the timing screens. He will have been looking across the track. Is he coming in? He's coming in. Now, this has to be an unbelievable pit stop. He's going to probably come out behind Sougne, only just by about half a second. His biggest concern will be Truman, but I think he's got enough for Truman. Now, here come the two leaders. So he's going to be third. Sturm is going to be third. So he comes out in third place. Let's see what sort of time it was. Yeah, 11-second stop really there by Sturm. So, again, just showing the standard with which Grzyb and Sougne were working to on their pit stops. And that is why the first second is also a miracle why they're actually as close as they are. Has to be said, though, Grzyb made a great job in that pit stop, not something he's really used to, and that is what has given him that slight gap over Logan Sougne. I have to say that I'm a little bit surprised at the gap that he has got. And, all right, I know it's not much. It's less than a second. There we can see the leader, Grzyb, on screen. And there is Sougne second. Gary Jones. Oh, here's Gary Jones. And what's this going to be like? Gary Jones pitted from 5th place. And what's it going to be like? Gary knows what to do in these stops. We'll see how it is. We're going to have the checker out soon, I'm sure. But Jones, well, that was all right. That was a 10-second stop. That was one of the best we've seen. A great stop there by Gary Jones. Quite experienced with that kind of caper now. But there go the two leaders on screen, cross the line. And there was Sturm coming into view. So I think Sturm made up a little bit of time with them. He's only 3.5 seconds behind. But, you know, these guys are setting the best laps of the weekend so far. And they're, in fact, 31.9. We're now into the 31-second lap times. And it's Logan Sougne. That means Logan Sougne is closing in on the race leader. He's set the fastest lap so far of the weekend to start putting pressure on Grzyb. Has he left it too late? We don't know. We've got about 2 minutes to go. Well, 2 and a bit minutes. But, you know, sometimes the checker flag comes up mindful of where the last place guy is going to come in rather than the first. So it could well be that Logan Sougne's found this pace a little bit later. Is it enough for Grzyb? But look at Sougne, he's closer than ever. Sturm is now 3.8, still Sougne. Sougne sets a new record. Sougne sets a new record for the weekend. Grzyb very fast indeed, but it's Sougne who's on the mission. He's setting record lap after record lap in his pursuit of the leader here, and he's visibly closer. Has he left it too late, or has he got enough in hand? Because bear in mind, he's got to catch, but he's also got to pass. But Sougne, he's now a car length behind, sorry. He's really making his time up. It's another personal best, is it? Oh, not quite, but he's the second fastest time of the weekend so far. And look at this, it's nose to tail. Has Logan Sougne done enough? He's showing us why he's in that Blue Star team. He's showing us why he's rated one of the best in the world. Because he's up against Wotjek Grzyb, one of the greatest debuts in Brkc history. And it might be about to be undone by Logan Sougne, who's absolutely flying up to the back of the Polish driver, the Polish former champion who's in the lead. And this is it. Logan Sougne is running out of time. He's surely only got a lap or so to go. And well, he's going to have to really go for it here. Will he do something crazy? We don't know. Grzyb is on hand to make one of the greatest Brkc debuts we've seen ever, but it could be upset by Logan Sougne. Logan Sougne's got a win in mind for himself, and of course, he was up there last year and he's up there this year. He's leaping out of the car, doing everything he can to get momentum. Oh, sliding it in. And he's closer than ever to Grzyb. He's close to Grzyb. They're bringing out the checker. This is it. Logan Sougne. It's now or never. And it's going to be never. It's Grzyb who takes the win. Wotjek Grzyb takes the win. Incredible race. What a race there by Wotjek Grzyb and Logan Sougne. He gives him a friendly little karting tap there and also waves him well done. Joris Sturm, a fantastic third place for the Dutchman there. Dan Truman, now that is a great fourth. He was starting fifth. He made up a place. That's more points. That's what he's concerned about. Joris Sturm coming through to fifth place. What a run there by Joris Sturm. That's great from Emile Hollink, Adam Preston, Gary Jones, Matt West. Andy Meulemeester somehow finds himself bundled back to 10th place, but a sign of how well this was. It wasn't a distant 12th place. He is on the lead lap. We've seen in the other races occasionally people going down a lap. Andy Meulemeester actually some way away from being lapped, to be fair, because we're dealing with a record lap of 31 seconds, and Meulemeester was only 24 behind, so really not even close to going a lap down. So what a show that was. An incredible debut there by Wotjek Grzyb, former Polish champion from Logan Sougne, one of the world's top racers when it comes to the indoor karting scene. And Joris Sturm, champion from his hometown, so over in the Netherlands, they're part of the Boutens clan. Three excellent drivers. Dan Truman fourth. What a run by him. Truman needed to make up some time. He couldn't really challenge the top three, but he did the best of what he could away from that, which was fourth place. Joris Sturm, well, Joris Sturm has to be said, you know, we don't normally see him up there in fifth place. Last year he was 81st overall, so this is showing a real jump in performance by Joris Sturm. So great showing there by Joris Sturm in the fifth place. Of course, Emile Hollink, he got some decent points there. Adam Preston was actually doing a bit better this time because he was 87th in the championship last time here. And he's probably already scored more points there in one go than he did the whole time if he was 87th. So, let's have a look. Gary Jones, probably going to be slightly disappointed with that, to be fair. 8th place, considering he was 17th in the championship 2 years ago. So Gary Jones perhaps could have got a few more points, but I'm sure he did his best. Matt West there, 75th in the championship last year, so probably wanted a few more. Andy Meulemeester, of course, was 50th, so I think he'll be using some bad language down in 10th place there. Right then, so what a race that was. A great run there by Wotjek Grzyb. Amazing debut race. Qualified on pole, won the race. Immense pressure from the incredible Logan Sougne. Okay then, so we're going to be getting on into the next heat.